Hello, students, and welcome to our April 20th lesson. So we're going to start with our Do Now, where we respond to the prompt about Look-alike Day, having a little fun. Our objective is to continue with our factoring trinomials, which have a leading coefficient. So there's that a value before the x squared plus c. So we're talking about that leading coefficient. Our essential question is, how can the slip and slide method, which is what we're using, help me to factor trinomials with a coefficient a value? Okay. So our assignment is to complete the Do Now, complete the 2 pages. Page 2 from yesterday, most of the classes we didn't get to, or we didn't finish page 2. And then I have a supplemental page also. So we've got a supplemental page so that we can get a little bit more practice. I want you to complete your exit ticket. If you're distance learning, tonight's the night you'll submit it on Teams. If you're in person, I will come around and look at your work. So I asked you last night to start homework 8, just a couple of problems. I want you to finish homework 8 tonight. And for an exit ticket, I want you to explain slip and slide in your own words. So today is National Look-alike Day. And did you know that a stand-in is a person who substitutes for a famous actor for technical filming purposes? So for lighting, for sound checks, and other things like that. So putting film aside for a minute, is there anyone you'd like to be a stand-in for, somebody you'd like to be for a day, and why? It's sometimes fun to think about that, but remember, the best person to be is you. But talk about that there, and we can talk in class if you'd like. So we have these extra problems that we didn't get finished in class today. I did cover them in the video that I already made, so I'm not going to work those in this video. If you need help with these, go back to yesterday's video. I'm just going to do these 6 problems here because we didn't get these done yesterday. So we'll start with what I'm calling number 1, which is 6w squared minus 3w minus 18. And the first thing I'm going to do is factor out a 3, which will give us 2w squared minus w minus 6. Now I'm going to slip and slide. I'm going to take the 2 and multiply it by negative 6, which gives me w squared minus w positive 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. And I need 2 numbers that add to negative 1 because I have an invisible 1 right here. There's an invisible 1 right there. Okay, so I'm going to look for something that adds to negative 1 and multiplies to negative 12. So that's 1 is going to be positive, 1 is going to be negative, and that would be a negative 4 and a positive 3. So 3w minus 4w plus 3. Now I have to divide by that leading coefficient of 2, okay? Just because we factored something out first doesn't mean that we go back to here. We go back to the 2 now, and we divide the negative 4 and the 3 by 2, and we'll do some simplifying. So negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2, and 4, well, let's have w plus 3 divided by 2. Now I'm going to do the slide. So I'm going to take the 2, slide it in front of the w, and I finally have my answer of 3w minus 2, 2w plus 3. Okay, so let's go on to number 2, which is 30x squared minus 27x plus 6. So I think the first thing we want to do with that one is factor out a 3, which would leave us with 10x squared minus 9x plus 2. Now, we're going to take the 10 and slip it over and multiply it by the 2. So that would be 3x squared. So we've gotten rid of the leading coefficient, minus 9x plus 20. And now we need some integers. We need two numbers that add to negative 9 and multiply to 2, and to 20, I mean, because we multiplied by 10, so now this is a 20. So I think negative 4, they're both going to have to be negative because this is a negative and the 20 is positive. So negative 4 and negative 5 add to negative 9 and they multiply to positive 20. So that would be 3x minus 4, x minus 5. Now, we've got to take the leading coefficient, but in this case, the leading coefficient is not the 30. We factored out the 3. It's the 10. So we're going to divide the 4 and the 5 by 10. And then we will simplify. So negative 4 over 10 is negative 2 over 5. And negative 5 over 10 is negative 1/2. Now we're going to take the denominators and slide them up in front of the variable x. So we will have 5x minus 2 times 2x minus 1. And that's our final answer. Okay, so our next problem is 8m squared plus 6m minus 5. So we cannot factor anything out of here first. So we're going to have to dive right in. Let's start with the slip. So we have m squared plus 6m minus 40. We need two numbers that add to 6, positive 6, and multiply to negative 40. So one is going to be positive and one is going to be negative. And if we do a positive 10 and a negative 4, that will get us there because 10 minus 4 is 6, and 10 times negative 4 is negative 40. So we'll factor this into our two binomials, which will be m plus 10, m minus 4. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to slide. We're going to first put the leading coefficient of 8 under the 10 and the 4 as a new denominator. Then we're going to take that denominator and slide it up in front of the m in both those binomials, which would leave us with 10 over 8 reduces to 5 over 4, and m minus 4 over 8 reduces to 1/2. Let's slide the denominators up. Always simplify before you do that. So we have 4m plus 5, 2m minus 1. So always simplify first. It makes it easier. You'll have extra work to do later if you don't do that. Okay, so now we've got the 6w squared minus 28w plus 32. And I can factor a 2 out of here. Nothing bigger, just a 2, which would give me 3w squared minus 14w plus 16. And now I'm going to take the 3 and slip it over and multiply it by 16, which gives me no leading coefficient, leading coefficient of an invisible 1. So it's w2 minus 14w plus 48, because 3 times 16 is 48. And I need two numbers that add to negative 14 and multiply to positive 48. So I'm going to need two negative numbers. So I know that 6 times 8 is 48. And I know that 6 and 8, negative 6 and negative 8 add up to negative 14. So that'll work for me. So 2w minus 6, w minus 8. Now we're going to take that leading coefficient, 6, the 3, excuse me, not the 6, the 3, because we've already factored out the 2. So we're going to make it a denominator underneath the negative 6 and the negative 8. Now this negative 8 over 3, we cannot simplify that, but 6 over 3, we can simplify that. So we will have 2w minus 2, w minus 8 over 3. And as you keep doing these, you'll do this step in your head and skip it. But for now, while we're learning, we'll do it on paper. So we're going to take the 3, slide it up in front of the w, 2w minus 2 times 3w minus 8. Remember, when you take it out of the denominator and slide it up in front of the variable, then it goes away as a denominator. It's gone. Okay, so let's work on number 5 now. So we have 16k squared minus 24k plus 8. So let's factor out an 8, which will give us 2k squared minus 3k plus 1. We're going to take the 2 and multiply it by the 1, a times c, which will give us 8k squared minus 3k plus 2. Now we need a number that adds to negative 3 and multiplies to positive 2. So it'll be two negative numbers. So negative 2 and negative 1 would work. So we have 8k minus 2k minus 1. Now we're going to go ahead and take that coefficient of 2 and put it as a denominator under the negative 2 and the negative 1. When we simplify, we have k minus 1, because negative 2 divided by negative 2 is by positive 2, excuse me, is negative 1. And then we have k still minus 1/2. We cannot reduce that any further, but we can take that 1/2, that denominator of 2, and put it in front of the k, and our final answer is 8k minus 1, 2k minus 1, and that's our final answer. And then our last problem for the day, 6k squared minus 3k minus 84. Let's factor out a 3, so that would leave us with 2k squared minus k minus 28. 84 divided by 3 is 28. Now we're going to multiply 2 times negative 28, and that will be k squared minus k minus 56. Now, how am I going to add to negative 1 and multiply to negative 56? I'll need a positive number and a negative number, and because they add to negative 1, the negative number will be larger and they'll be very close to each other, which would be negative 8 and positive 7. So 3k minus 8, k plus 7. Now I'm going to grab that leading coefficient, the one from after I factored, the 2, and I'll make it a denominator under negative 8 and 7. Now, I can simplify k minus 8 over 2 to k minus 4, but I cannot simplify the k plus 7 over 2. So I'm going to need to take that 2, slide it up in front of the k for a final answer of 3k minus 4, 2k plus 7. Now, I want you to go to your exit ticket, and I want you to tell the steps of slip and slide in your own words. Remember to please do your homework, homework 8. I believe I inserted it today. I did. It's right here. You should have started it yesterday, and here it is for today. And I do have an interesting little mindful game quote, brick wall quote, if you get finished early or you're just looking for a little break. So thank you. Thank you for your hard work. Keep it up. Algebra takes a lot of practice, but with practice, you'll be great.